Congresswoman, good to see you again. What's your first reaction to this? Because the calls are growing louder. We started with Ron Reynolds from the state legislature in Houston. Now we have Lloyd Doggett, congressman from Austin. What do you think is going to happen now with President Biden?
Something tells me that President Biden wasn't sitting around waiting on Ron Reynolds nor Lloyd Doggett to tell him what to do. So I absolutely think that everyone needs to calm down. You know, the problem is that Democrats are afraid of their own shadow, right? Here it is, no Republican nor Democrat has called for Trump to go anywhere once he had his initially 90-something counts, reduced to 80-something felony counts, and even after he was convicted. You know, the Republicans are standing by their man. The fact that Democrats are so scared of their own shadow and won't just stand up and say, hey, he's got a record to run on, and it's a very strong record, we stand with him, is absolutely ridiculous.
What was your reaction to the debate?
I was shocked. I really was. I wasn't shocked by Trump. I knew Trump would lie. I was shocked that CNN did not decide to engage in actual moderation at all. They have been more combative with me as a sitting member of Congress than they were with the two men that are looking to become the president of the United States. I also was disturbed and felt as if the president had been overprepared and they had been running them ragged. And sometimes you have to tell your team, no, stop. I could tell that the president was constantly reaching for answers. He knows the answers to all these questions. So I was pretty shocked by both sides. More so the moderation as well as the president. I expected him to do better.
Should President Biden debate again?
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't want the same debate prep team. So I don't know. You know, I wasn't a part of that, right?
But seeing how he did the first time,
yeah.
Should he take that stage again next to Donald Trump?
I don't know. I think that that's a question for the team to make. But I think that if he does take it, there has to be a different approach. There has to be one in which he's prepared to deal with Donald Trump and be able to slap down his lies immediately. I mean, this guy stood up there, and if anybody was senile, I would have argued that it was Donald Trump. He's taking credit for reducing the cost of insulin. I mean, I'm like, what planet are you living on? Like, that's the one thing Americans know that the Democrats in this administration led the way on in the Inflation Reduction Act. So I would have wanted the president to take a more aggressive stance and say, hey, Don, just so you know, your memory may be a little mixed up. That's my bill. It came out of this. And then every time he didn't answer a question, I would have wanted the president to say, maybe you're confused and don't understand the question. What they're asking about is the economy. And so what they're wanting to know is how you're going to help everyday people. I would have wanted to see some of the spiciness that I know that he has, but something tells me that's not the angle that his team wanted to prepare him for.
Clearly, President Biden has a record he can run on. But do you think he's too old for the job?
I don't put age limits on anything, especially with me being part of the younger group, right? I mean, when you think about it, Congress and elected officials in general, they're like older than average, right? Like when you look at the average age of Congress, like most people are already retired by then. Some people enter Congress as retirees. I think that what we should be looking for is someone who has the heart to serve, someone who cares about the people, and someone that will protect democracy. And there's only one choice if that's what we're looking for. If you're looking for someone who will lie straight through their teeth and is looking to stay out of prison, then you've got a candidate for that.
You said the Democrats are scared of their own shadow.
Yeah.
Democrats talking about this, though, just take the focus off the race itself and off
Correct.
the issues.
Correct.
What should happen here then? This is your party.
It's terrible strategy, right? Like, I mean, the question, you know, it's kind of like people used to say, who needs enemies when you've got friends like this? Like, that's kind of how I'm feeling right now, right? Because literally with the Supreme Court coming down with such a horrific, you know, decision the other day, the idea that we're not focusing in on the real issues. The real issue is that this is Donald Trump's Supreme Court, a Supreme Court that he wants to make even worse. He wants to have two of the Supreme Court justices step down so that he can then appoint two more for a lifetime appointment. That should scare everyone out of their mind. And regardless of whether or not they believe the president performed well or not, they should at least say, I know that this guy will not give us more of what we've been getting. And I know that at least some of our freedoms won't be on the chopping block. Like, we have significant issues. And the fact that people want to say, well, 90 minutes, it was awful, and so we're going to throw it all away is absolutely crazy to me.
Representative Reynolds and other Democrats I've talked to says that lawmakers, Democratic lawmakers, are chattering in the background about this. Are you hearing from others?
I haven't, but they probably know better than to talk to me as well. So I don't know, if they're doing it. But seriously, as Democrats, right? When you think about democracy,
Right.
that's what we say we stand for. So we had an election, and this is our nominee. So then, if he is somehow not our nominee, what do? Do we now say, well, forget the will of the people? You can't go by a poll and decide that this is going to now be the nominee. And I want to remind people, when you're voting for a ticket. The ticket is the president and the vice president. The vice president is a part of the ticket because if something happens to the president, there is someone that steps in, and we've seen this happen time and time again. Obviously, it's not something that happens every day, but it's not as if we haven't had to have a vice president step in. So I need everyone to calm down, because we know, if we're talking about age, that the vice president is approximately 30 years younger than the president. So you've got somebody younger on the ticket, if that's your big concern.
Let me ask you about something that Lloyd Doggett said. He said, quote, "Our overriding consideration must be who has the best hope of saving our democracy from an authoritarian takeover by a criminal gang. Too much is at stake to risk a Trump victory, too great a risk to assume that we could not turn it around in a year."
Yeah, here's the deal. We have to respect the will of the people. And polling doesn't tell us the will of the people. If that's the case, Hillary Clinton would have become president, and we wouldn't be talking about Trump anyway. As it relates to how do we go forward, I think if we all get on the same page and we start fighting the real enemy, which is Trump and MAGA, then we can win. But so long as we continue to fight each other, we're already losing. Because the next question becomes, if it's not the president, then who is the nominee? How do we go about that? We don't end up being able to hold primaries all over again before August. Like, there are timelines, there are laws that are in place. We will potentially risk not even having a nominee on certain ballots because you've got to get that information in. So I think people need to start thinking more strategically and stop being so emotional and get down to getting to the business of work. We're talking about people that are putting out statements online. My question is, when is the last time you have been out to campaign for this presidential administration? I can tell you that I am hardly home right now because I am traveling the country fighting for this administration. What are you doing? Because we need something more than Twitter fingers.
What do you think is going to happen at the convention? Do you think there'll be a floor fight at all over a nominee?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
You think it'll be just a regular convention?
I don't know if it's going to be regular, but I don't think that there will be a floor fight. I mean, what fight is there to have? He has all of, I think it was one random place that he didn't get.
He has all the nominees.
He has
delegates.
He has all the delegates
Yeah.
except for like one or something.
Yeah.
I mean, like, who's going to fight with him? Like, nobody else has anything.
I was going to ask you here too. Let me ask you about Vice President Harris. You brought that up earlier too. She polls below Biden. So when you look at a ticket, Biden does better than her. But if you replace the ticket, where would you be polling wise?
Listen, I have no idea. I mean, you're saying she's polling lower. There was another poll that said she was polling higher.
Than President Biden?
Yes. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But that's not what we should focus on. We shouldn't be focused on polls. Polls are supposed to give us a snapshot of what is going on in a moment in time. We should take the information that we get from the polls, and then we should work to make sure that we can defy those polls if they are not in our favor. And so what we need to do right now is we need to buckle up and we need to work. We, again, have the legislation on our sides. We have the record on our side. And honestly, the people are with us. When we talk about policies, whether we're talking about repro or whether we're talking about democracy, overwhelmingly, the people see it the way that we see it. The one thing right now that we're really fighting over is the economy. And there's an opinion that Trump does better with the economy, but as we looked in the debate, anything that was asked of him economically, he refused to answer the question. This administration has an answer as it relates to child poverty and making sure that people can afford things such as child care, looking at the child tax credit and bringing that back, which was giving $300 per child to families to help them out. as it relates to housing. Everyone is concerned about the housing crisis because the interest rates are high, and that's not the president's fault. He's not the one that sets the interest rate, but he does recognize that it's a problem. And so as far as the president is concerned, he wants to make sure that people can move into homes and build that generational wealth by making sure that they have a stipend. But let me tell you that the Republicans that are currently controlling the House, they have no agenda whatsoever that is for the working class people. The only agenda that they have, along with Trump, is to make sure that the top 1%ers do not pay their fair share. That cost us $8 trillion in debt in his 1 4-year term. So anyone that says they're fiscally conservative, if you think that that makes you a Republican, it may make you a Republican, but it doesn't make you MAGA, because MAGA absolutely ran up the debt and didn't do anything for anybody in the process of doing it.
They like to spend. I think that the record shows that they do like to spend.
They do.
A couple last questions for you. What does the Biden campaign need to do right now to get the attention off the president's debate performance, off the president's age, and back on the issues? Can that even be done?
I don't even know that the Biden campaign needs to do anything to do that. I think that we need to have a family meeting in the House, though. I think that that's what needs to take place because, again, you're talking about Lloyd Doggett. That is a House member, obviously not someone that falls right there within the Biden-Harris campaign. We need to talk about a path forward, and that path forward looks like unity, something that Nancy Pelosi has always said, that we are stronger when we're unified, and it's absolutely true. The real enemy is MAGA, and that's what we need to focus in on. And as I've said, as I've been out on the campaign trail before the debate, and I'll continue to say after the debate, what you're doing is you're supposed to focus on yourself. You're supposed to vote for the policies that will better your life. It never should have been about the name per se, because ultimately he needs a full team. You can't just go out and say, I'm going to vote for president. I need you voting all the way up and down the ballot if we're going to get something done. And you need to evaluate, what does this team stand for? What is this team going to deliver? And ultimately, we have systems in place. If for some reason our president is unable to serve, we know that there is a vice president that is ready and willing and able to serve.
You sound frustrated.
I am.
Have you expressed that to your colleagues? Have you ever called up one of your colleagues in the House and said, listen,
I have not.
You're not helping anything?
I have not. I'm sure that I speak very
Do you want to call some colleagues and say that?
No, because I will say that I respect the hierarchy. And as a person that sits in leadership, I'm sure that we will have a leadership family meeting as soon as I get back. I'll express my opinions in leadership. I do respect Hakeem Jeffries a whole heck of a lot, and I am hoping that something can come from the top down. But knowing what's at stake, knowing that in a state like Texas, we've got a state legislature that wants to institute the death penalty for women that are seeking abortions come January when they go back into session, I don't have time to play games with people. I need to know that the Democrats are going to control the House, the Senate, and have the White House, because otherwise they want to institute a nationwide abortion ban in a state where women are dying. It's unacceptable. We've got to do better, and we've got to focus on the prize, and the prize should be the people, and it can't be all these antics. They need to get their shit together.
And the drip, drip, drip from Democrats saying, hey, we got to consider this, we got to consider someone else, it doesn't seem to be helping things, and
it's not helpful.
I can tell by your reaction.
It's not helpful, and don't tell me what should be done, because you need to have an actual plan. You can't just say, oh, we got to get somebody else. That's not what we do in a democracy. You got to have a plan, and they don't have a plan.
And you don't think we'll see anything at the convention?
I know.
Congressman, good to see you.
Good to see you too.